Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And if you're here, you're about to be introduced to a lucrative business model that could possibly change your life as long as you are driven and as long as you put in the time and the effort. Sales is a lucrative industry. It is by far the best skill to learn in 2025. Why? Because you have to negotiate, you have to sell yourself, you have to sell products. There's a time in your life where sales will always come into the equation, whether it be in business, whether it be in your personal life. But let's be honest, there are many different business models out here, out there, to be honest. And if you really knew that there was a clear path to go from 1K to 50K, would you actually take this seriously? Because this isn't actually, it's not theory. It's actually the reality of high ticket remote sales. And I'm about to show you how, because I went through my own journey and I went through my own realization when I really went through my journey in high ticket sales over the last 7 months. I have it's come to the conclusion that this is by far probably the best rewarding industry out there at the moment to allow you to achieve financial freedom. And remember, there's certain things that we need to consider when we consider a business model: beginner friendly, longevity, startup costs, profitability. Those are the four type of pillars that I consider when I'd consider any business model, whether it's remote sales or whether it's e-com, whether it's Amazon FBA. Because what I'm about to kind of go through right now with you, like I said to you, is not theory. It's the true reality of high ticket remote sales. And in this video, I want to show you exactly how the journey really commences from a beginner setter to all the way to a growth operator running his own team or agency or even program. So as for the ones who are coachable, consistent, and they're really serious about it, then let me really show you what's possible here, brothers. So as we know, a remote appointment setter is at the start of the kind of ecosystem of a sales kind of team, right? So a remote appointment setter, he does a very important job. This is what people fail to understand. They just see it as someone as, oh, I'm booking meetings. But put it like this: if you're not booking meetings, the closer's not getting paid. Simple as that. If you're not booking qualified meetings, the closer's not gonna jump onto these calls and close these meetings. Your job is to set them up for a close. Your job is it's like a midfielder who assists a striker, right, in a football game, sets him up for the close, or he sets him up for the goal, right? This is exactly it. And closers and setters, they really have a strong culture in teams and in offers and sales strategies. They have a strong culture. They have strong communication. They have strong collaboration, and they understand each other to the max, right? Now, as a setter, you start off. Let's talk about financial rewards, because this is what we're here. The purpose of this video is to show you that Muslims are sleeping on a business model that can give them heaps of wealth, right? Without compromising their deen. Because you don't work nowhere near 9 to 5, right? And that's one of the best perks about remote appointment setting and remote sales as a whole. Now, going into the figures, going into the financial rewards, right? And going into the progression that a setter can really go take, really. really make, sorry, is that he starts off as an appointment setter, entry level role, 1 to 5 or 1 to 4K, I'd say 1 to 5K a month, because we've had students who have come into the program recently and secured roles with an on target earning of 5 to 8K a month. And that's 2 weeks after one brother, 2 weeks after coming into the program. Another brother, alhamdulillah, worked his way up. So typically, setters usually make between 1 to 5K a month. That's an average. If I was going to give you the best accurate type of range in terms of income range, it would be 1 to 5K a month, starting out in remote sales. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you. That's just the start, right? If you were a setter and you don't really see yourself going to be a closer, because I'm going to be brutally honest, there are some closers out there who can never be setters. And there are some setters out there who, even if they really tried very, very hard, they wouldn't really make it to a closing position. But look, if you have good communication skills, if you have effective communication skills, and if it passes that basic level, then you can go into becoming a closer. Now, let me just take a step back there, because setters 1 to 5K, but when you get better at what you do, when you become a skilled setter, when you become very qualified to take on higher offers and to work for bigger companies, right? What do you think is going to happen? Of course, your earning potential is going to be much higher. And just to give you guys encouragement, for those who might be thinking, oh, okay, so this is a conversation killer, or this is a killer, right? This is a video killer, or like what you've just said to me. But look, the sky is the limit, because setters, I know setters that make 8k a month. There's another setter that I know, or I know of, that makes 10k a month, right? So setters, depending upon the offer, depending on which offer you're on, depending how you grow, how fast your progression is, you can get to the income range of 6 to 8k or 5 to 8k a month, just like some of my students have. So that's living proof for you there, and proof in the pudding. So if you were really wanting to stay in that position, you could, and slowly take the longer route in becoming a closer, in perfecting yourself as a setter, and then slowly moving up to a closer. Now, usually setters, they go through a number of different roles, and typically they land on the phone setting role, perform very well there, and then slowly move up to becoming a closer. The transition is 6 months, 6 to 12 months, right? The transition of becoming a setter into a closer. And I'll use myself as a practical example at the end, just to show you guys, right? Because I don't really want to talk about myself, but just to show you guys the kind of journey and the time frame it took me from going from a typical setter, working on several different roles, and then becoming a closer and becoming an agency owner as well. So we've gone through setting. Now, when you get to phone setting and you slowly building your way up, phone setters get more, right? Typically they get more because there's a lot more leads. Phone setting role is normally given to someone when there's a lot of leads coming in. So you have a really important job to do. And it goes back to setters are very important because they are the first touch point of when marketing delivers their message and advertises the service and brings it to the eyes of the prospect. The setter is the next touch point, is the first touch point, not the next one. Closers get guaranteed 5 to 12k a month. And I'm being serious. Guaranteed 5 to 12k a month. Unless you're not doing a good job, and unless that offer that you're on is really, really bad. Meaning the leads that are coming in, not enough of them. If there are enough of them, not qualified enough. Which is not your fault, because the quality of that lead isn't really that great. So the likelihood of that lead closing is going to be very, very low. Sometimes people got to understand that setters sometimes are only as good as offers are. So if an offer is really bad, the closer and the setter, they won't really perform. And of course, that's a discussion for another day. But closers usually take 2 to 8 calls a day. Varies, fluctuates, fast pace, changes. Some days 8, one day, another day 1, another day 3. It will change, it will fluctuate. It's all dependent upon the traffic that's coming in, and all dependent upon how good the setter is qualifying as well. There's a lot of variables at play, which is why I can't give you a pinpoint kind of understanding of it. But closers, that's what they earn, and it's a very, very healthy, more than healthy, stable and sustainable income that by far will help you achieve financial freedom. I mean, even if you're getting 5-6k a month, right? That can bring you closer, very, very closer, and rapidly speed you or take you closer to becoming financially free. Now, when you're a closer, that will give you all the leeway, and the door will be completely open to becoming a sales manager. Why? Closers, they will learn about sales strategies. They'll learn about funnels. They'll gain real good value around running a sales system. How does the ecosystem even work, right? These are such important things to consider, because if you're becoming a sales manager, it's you kind of operating, you're managing, you're taking a lot more responsibilities, right? You're building scripts, you're building SOPs, you're recruiting, you're hiring, you're reviewing candidates, you're training candidates, you're making sure they perform, you're making sure their mindset is intact, right? You become more of a coach slash, it's like a player, how do I say it? It's like a player manager, right? Out on the playing field, sometimes not, sometimes managing. So sales managing, 12, 20k a month, that's just the estimated figure. That's me being generous, I promise you. 12, 20k a month, I'm being serious. If you do very well, if if your management of the sales team is leading to growth of the business, do you really think that they're not going to reward you? Of course they are. There's a commission and a bonus on top for sales managers who recruit well, train well, and help businesses grow well. Okay, so sales managers, they normally recruit, manage the sales reps. Okay, and obviously bigger task, bigger responsibility, but you've worked your way up. You've To get to that position, you're recognized as someone who's qualified to be in that position. And if you ever are, inshallah ta'ala, we all hope that we become sales managers or growth operators. So as long as it's good for us, um, because we know wealth can sometimes not be good for us, and sometimes it's okay. Yes, yes, the sky is the limit, but sometimes know your limits. Because if you're earning what 5, 12K a month as a closer, do you really want to take on? I mean, look, some people are made for it. Some people are well qualified for it. Some people are suited to it. Managing, controlling, reviewing, taking on those responsibilities. Yes, they can do it. They get very, very high rewards for it. If you feel like you're cut out for it, of course, no one's gonna stop you. So yeah, that's managing as a sales managing, or hire. Oh, if you're a hiring manager, sales manager, hiring manager, more or less the same thing. I mean, some companies might have a separate hiring manager and a separate sales manager, but that wouldn't really be cost effective, and would mean that there's a lot more involved in terms of operations, which can be a bit of a chaotic sometimes. Now we reach to the last stage, right? After becoming a sales manager, think about it. All those years you filled in the bucket of skills and knowledge, right? You've understood offers, you've managed people, you've changed people's mindset, right? Now you're in a position to create your own sales agency, or create your own. You can either create a sales agency where you're hiring, recruiting setters, training them. Similarly, have your own agency where you have your own coaching program. Similarly, like me, I have my own coaching program, alhamdulillah, and we help young Muslim men, train them up to become remote appointment setters, help them land roles, and use that income to achieve long-term goals like financial freedom and escaping the rat race and the matrix of 9 to 5, reclaiming time and ability for your Deen, retiring your parents, traveling to the lands of the Muslims. Exactly that. All right, alhamdulillah. So growth operating an agency, so you can do one or either or. Growth operating is such a lucrative model at this very moment in time. I'll tell you why. Because Muslim offers, they are none the wiser, except for the ones who made it in the first year or so, okay, or 1.5 years, or even the first 2 years. But the Muslim market is probably about 3.5, 4 years old. Okay, what does that mean? It means in 2, 3 years time, this market is going to be booming with new offers. It's like more offers are growing, but then there's an influx. There's an influx of more offers that are coming into the pipeline, right? Because the barrier to entry is very, very low. As long as you know what you're doing, and as long as you know what you're talking about, and as long as you're providing value and expertise, okay? Because some people they go through an offer, sorry, they go through a job, or they learn a skill for maybe 2, 3 months, and they think that they're ready to really go out there and start teaching it to others, helping them and taking them, transforming their finances or their life, right? When really, in reality, they're not in a position to do that because they don't have the skill set yet. Okay, so alhamdulillah, growth operating is when you help other businesses grow their business, whether that be lead generation, whether that be managing their sales team, whether that be managing the email marketing, whether that be tracking their data for them and creating a nice review and an analysis of what problems he has in his business, so then you can help him tackle it and help him grow it, help him reduce those issues and help him grow. Okay, reduce those issues and create more opportunities. That is what a growth operator does. Okay, like maybe social media, he might help him raise more content, grow his following, and then turn that following into leads, into bookings, into meetings. He might hire a sales team and assign setters. And remember, you've gone through setting, closing, sales managing. What did you do when you were doing sales managing? You were managing a team, right? So you have access, you have network, you have resources now, you have things behind you. You have a lot more armor behind you, right? So a lot more ammo behind you. So now you're in such a great position, and you're a man of authority now to really go out there and help other Muslim businesses grow their business. It could be very, very subtle details that you're really targeting for their business and growing that. So that's one route. And then agency is the other route, where you create your own sales program. You can help young Muslim men or run sales teams for other businesses. It could be a B2C offer, it could be a B2B offer, right? So there we have it. Going from a setter all the way to a closer. Sorry, going from a setter all the way to a growth operator. In between that, you can become a closer, where you can earn 5 to 12k a month, and also become a sales manager in eventually, inshallah. And again, there's no reason as to why you can't stay in the same position. I know one guy that's been a closer for about 3 years, hasn't moved from that offer at all. It's on an Airbnb coaching offer where they help other people create their own Airbnb coaching or create their own source of income through Airbnb business. It's like when you rent properties. I mean, I don't really know how it works exactly, but it's very simple. It's like you I think it's leasing a property and then you're renting it, and obviously you keep the profit and you pay whatever the rent fees are. So yeah, that's what I wanted to go through. And remember, brothers, this is just to show you like how lucrative this industry is, how financially rewarding it is, because Muslims are struggling today, right? 9 to 5 life, living paycheck to paycheck. We all know in the Western society here, the expenses, the living expenses, the cost to live is on average 2.5 to 3k a month, all right, with bills, expenses, dependents. Some people are in debts. Some people want to retire their parents. Some people want the Deen. Some people want the Deen, but they can't give that time and ability to the Deen because they're too swamped by their work, or they don't have time, they don't have energy, they don't have the health sometimes to even allocate time for worship. So super important, right, that we as Muslims look at different avenues that can remove our problems, and not just remove one problem, but remove several problems and create happiness and contentment and satisfaction, right? That's what we're really trying to achieve, because we're not really trying to achieve financial freedom, right? We're trying to achieve what financial freedom will bring us, the feeling that it'll bring, the contentment that we'll have, the lack of, well, no more worrying, no more concerns, no more compromising your Deen just for the finances. Like it's just like someone who wants to lose weight. He's not losing weight. I mean, he's not looking forward to the program, or he's looking forward to what the program will bring him, right? The desired outcome is to lose weight. When he loses that weight and how he feels, that's what he was always looking for. Not the program benefits, the features, the group calls, what what have you not. So I hope you guys understand. And now to really drive this point home and drive this industry home, inshallah ta'ala, I want to go through what happened, what my journey looked like in the last 7 months. Now, if you guys seen some of my other content, yeah, I have gone through a bit of my journey, but I'll run through this quickly. Inshallah, we'll keep it 1 minute 30 seconds. How about that? So in 7 months, I started off in remote sales in Feb, right? And before that, I had prior sales experience. I did cold calling. I was a BDM. I had account management experience. I even in an SDR role. That was again cold calling. So been there, done that in a lot of different sales roles, and I transferred a lot of those skills over to high ticket sales, right? Because it's all about communication. It's all about communication. and all you need is basic communications and basic communication skills and the willingness to really put in the work. Don't give up. Be resilient. Be determined. Be proactive. That's what sales is all about, and that's why you're getting paid figures like this, or figures like what we've just covered. By the way, if you're a growth operator or an agency, you're looking at 50k a month. All right, 20 to 30k, no, 30 to 40k a month, slowly rising up to 50. Now, I was a community setter where I was sitting on school, and then I was a DM setter, and also at the same time on one offer I was a DM closer, and then it transitioned to a phone closer. Like I was closing deals on DM, and then it transitioned to becoming a phone closer, where I was closing deals on the phone. But after that, and at the same time, I was closing deals. All right, I created my own offer. I started closing a few deals, training a few brothers up, seeing how that all went. But lo and behold, alhamdulillah, the developments have brought us here. I'm now running an offer. I'm an agency owner, alhamdulillah, and now I'm helping young Muslims go through the same experience and same journey that I went through. Now, to talk a little bit about the stats and what I've done to date, this is obviously as accurate. It is quite accurate. Probably a few things that are missing, but look, over 60K closing deals, made 3K in one day. Like in one day, I made 3K and took that home. Right? This is like what people make in a month. I'm being serious. People make this in a month, and I'm making this by Allah's permission and Allah's favors and Allah's doors of provision that were opened for me, right? And such great doors, such how Allah endowed upon me a business model that can bring such great rewards financially, right? I took that home in one day. Over 60K closing deals. I ran an email marketing campaign for a Muslim offer. This goes to growth operating, right? I actually did a bit of growth operating. He paid me $1,000 to growth operate his email marketing campaign, right? Crazy. Again, Muslim offers, especially the older ones, the older lads, maybe in the 30s, 40s, they're none the wiser. They don't have a clue of what's going on in terms of a sales strategy, content, email marketing, social media, organic content, right? Lead magnets, school communities, all these, they don't have an idea. They don't have no idea. And that's where you can come in, and you can come in and become an authoritative figure, helping him grow his business. And of course, since I opened my own agency, I've been training young Muslim men to become appointment setters, land roles. Well, alhamdulillah, one brother received a payout of $600 commission in one day. Another brother, $837 within 7 days. If he actually does that consistently across a 4-week period, he's looking at close to 3.5K a month. Some brothers came into the program, had a number of different offers that they were considered for, and he can now dictate. And now, you know what they say, beggars can't be choosers, right? But he can be the chooser, and that's so surprising because normally you're taking anything that comes. But alhamdulillah, I really, really hope you brothers benefited. At the end of the day, the main thing is that you've now seen the ladder, right? Most people stay stuck at the bottom because it's not that they lack skill, because you don't need previous sales qualifications or skills, because there are brothers here who have accents, brothers here who have no education, and they'll come in, alhamdulillah, making good progress. But it's because you lack belief, guidance, or even the right mentorship to level up. Because yes, you can go alone, but there are downsides of going alone. So if you're watching this and thinking, Akhi, that this is exactly what you've been looking for, don't let the opportunity pass you again, right? Because let's be honest, the longer you stay where you are, the longer you delay that first 1 to 5K, that first team, or that first real momentum of financial freedom. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Freedom in our time, freedom in our finances, and freedom in our deen. So the pathway is built. You just need to walk it. So when you're ready, inshallah ta'ala, many Muslim communities and networks out there, including myself, alhamdulillah, we have a program. So inshallah ta'ala, if you brothers are ready to take the step, whether that be through me or whether that be through your own kind of route, inshallah ta'ala, you will see such great, unprecedented rewards that you can't achieve in any other business model today in 2025. Barakallahu feek, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.